Hey everybody, welcome to Superhuman Entrepreneur. Like always, I am so excited to spend this moment with you. You've stopped your day to listen to this podcast, and I'm so thankful and so grateful for your life and your desire to become more superhuman every single day. And like always, I get to bring on and introduce to you a superhuman. And this young lady is doing amazing things in the world of healing and cellular regeneration through technology that is blowing the minds of a lot of people around the world right now. Her name is Connie Zack, and she's the co-owner and chief sales officer of Sunlighten. She started the business in a basement in 1999 with her husband and co-founder, Aaron Zack, who's the company's CEO, by the way. Before starting Sunlighten, Connie held positions at Procter Gamble, ranging from alternative marketing manager, district pharmaceutical sales manager, and gastrointestinal national manager. So she's a smart cookie. During her 11 years at Procter Gamble, she made her way into the P&G Leadership, which is a collection of elite staff groomed for future executive positions. So I can tell you right off the bat, not only has she created this amazing company and this amazing technology, but she is also leading the way as far as brilliant executive minds. Connie, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks, Dr. Matt, for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Absolutely. It's really exciting to have you. And the first exposure that I had to Sunlighten was at our last doctor's event. I was walking through the doors and I saw this thing. It was one of the portable ones, because I know you have a larger one that goes into a home, and then you have these portable ones, and it looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. There was blue light coming out of it. And to be honest, it looked really comfortable. I wanted to go and get in it in that exact moment. But that was my first exposure to you guys. And then ever since then, there's been continuing conversations of having you on. So I'm glad that you could take time out of your busy day and come on with us. I know you're shooting all over and speaking. And so I'm really excited to tell our audience and our listeners specifically why you do what you do. So let's start there with, you have this amazing background of being an executive. How did this start? Did you one day just say, hey, this sounds like a great idea, I'm going to go start this business in my basement?
No, to back up even before that, I've always wanted, and so has Aaron, we work together. We both always wanted to leave a footprint and make a difference in a large way in this world, specifically in the wellness space. And so ill and a type of the light therapy we use today helped to heal him. And so I saw that, and I was working at Procter Gamble in the pharmaceutical division and working on medications and different type of therapies and all sorts of different ways to try and help make a difference. But it was really more of a Band-Aid approach. And when I saw something that was a natural way of healing him after he tried all these medications and invasive therapies, I became very interested in how can I take something that is in its very beginning stages, refine it, make it more efficient, more effective, and then bring it to the marketplace.
Wow. So I'm just gonna reemphasize, because you cut out a little bit, but your brother suffered from debilitating chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. So basically you were like, hey, I want to help him. I want to do some things that get to the cause. And you began studying infrared light technology?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. And so there's a difference, and I want to get into those things, a difference between Sunlighten infrared technology and other infrared technology. And one of the goals of this call is I really want to get clear to everyone out there, because there's a lot of options out there. I got overwhelmed with options. When I started studying infrared, there's all these different types of saunas and portable saunas, and some are made in China, some are made here. But you guys have a really unique situation because you make them in the States. You own the factory that the saunas are coming out of. So, product surveillance and quality all ties into, what you're doing. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Sure. Our differentiation is in the amount of far infrared, as well as the quality, the precise wavelength that we deliver. The difference in when you combine those two elements, the quantity and the quality, you get the tipping point in transformation. So in any type of energy level, there's always a point where it turns into being able to transform or make a difference. And otherwise, it's just heat. Even infrared heat generically is still just a spectrum of heat and really won't change the cells. You have to get almost 100% of a very particular frequency. And that's what we have done at Sunlighten. And that's what makes our technology more effective than just a small amount of infrared at a non-therapeutic level of infrared. That's what I would call generic. It's still infrared heat, and it's still at lower temperatures, and it's still more gentle to the body than convectional heat, but you're not going to get enough of that energy into the body to make those water molecules transform, to make that change, to get into your core temperature, to increase your core temperature, and then to cause that dispersion of sweat at a deep level versus just water sweat. And that's Sunlighten gives you that deep level of sweat, the increased core temperature that in turn leads to all of the wonderful results.
Gotcha. So when someone gets a sunburn, is that the deep heat that you're talking about? Like, is that traveling deep enough when someone gets a sunburn?
When someone gets a sunburn, they're getting that ultraviolet rays into the body, and we have filtered out everything that's non-healing, like all of that. We filtered that, so we don't give any of that. It's just the highest quantity of the healing rays into the body.
Right. And that's why infrared can be so powerful. And specifically, you're talking about Sunlighten infrared, which penetrates very, very deep into the tissue. And this is important for all types of disease, essentially. When you think about even a fever, I think about, there's a proper systematic approach when you're looking at the body and thinking how it regulates itself. Fever fights disease, it fights bacteria, all these things. And infrared, from what I've seen, can do the same thing. It can heat up your core temperature and allow you to sweat. And it's kind of a perfect timing that we're talking about this, because this is officially the first day of spring.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right? And people are wanting to detox, and people are wanting to, be active and drop those extra pounds. And I think oftentimes we make it really complicated, right? Like we think we got to go out, we got to exercise an hour a day and, eat really well and not stress out. And those things are important. But I think that you guys have something really cool here, because this is something you can use. You can sweat in it. You can detox in it. You can fight disease and dysfunction in it and inflammation in it. So I think it's really neat what you're doing. And also you talk about how Sunlighten is the only sauna company with clinical data to validate health benefits. Talk about that, because I feel like that's a really big deal. There's no other company that has this validation of clinical data except you guys.
Correct. Well, that was something that was extremely important to us at the very beginning when we started the company. Was we wanted to make sure that any claims that we stated had some meat to it. We're really big into making sure we don't provide false hopes or just misleading information. I really want to be transparent and honest and real about what we can do and what we can't do. And so in order to assess that, we did a clinical trial. The University of Missouri, Kansas City did a very complicated, shows like just how aggressive we were at the time, because it was a double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized trial, which essentially means it was really hard. We had to make two products, one that had our technology and one that was generic infrared, because the person that was in the study that we did it had to experience the same type of experience with both products because you wanted a placebo and a control. You wanted to make sure that nobody knew what the real product was to influence the results of the study. And so it was randomized. Nobody knew whether it was group A or group B, but the end of result showed that's what proved that Sunlighten's technology was able to statistically significantly lower blood pressure, which is a really, really difficult task. I know from my medical days, it's hard to lower blood pressure without significant changes in the body, and most people regulate it usually by medicine, and we didn't want to have to do that. And so we showed a significant change with using our product only 30 minutes a day for three times a week. So that was a really big deal. And then we also were able to show removal of toxic elements in the body. We showed and decrease in pain and improvement in quality of life scores. So essentially after people used our product, they felt that their experience was much more rejuvenating, had much more energy after the end. They felt their mind was clear, more refreshed, and just felt lighter overall versus the generic infrared that looked exactly the same.
Wow. And are there specific times during the day that you recommend using infrared technology?
That's a great question. I find that it's a personal preference depending on, how your day is structured. I always say I'm a morning person, but I was also I will stay up late as well. Mm-hmm. So it just depends on what your objectives are. If you do it in the morning, it gives you that jump start and that just mental clarity at the very, very beginning of the day. If you do it at night, you get this amazing sleep. I mean, I'm telling you, try it at night. You sleep. Like every single time I recommend that to somebody, Dr. Matt, I get emails or phone calls back like, Connie, I wasn't sure, like you were just telling me something and they're like, this was amazing. I slept like so much deeper and so much more restful. I didn't wake up in the middle of the night. So that's a benefit. It just depends on what I don't have trouble sleeping, so I like to do mine in the morning. I just find I get a kick jump start for the day.
Yeah. Wow. And it's funny because, I was talking with Alicia, who is with Sunlighten, and she was saying, yeah, we'll have you use it, in your hotel room. And I'm like, absolutely. And now that you're saying this, I'm like, okay, hands down.
Yes.
I'm going to use one before I go to bed because that sounds amazing. And
especially when you travel, because that's the time that I have the most difficulty sleeping is you're in a different area. Maybe it's a different time zone. Yeah, definitely.
Right. Do you fly with this? Like, do you take it on a plane with you?
You can. I mean, I know people who have done that. We also have a solo pad, which has our heaters in it and our technology in it, and it folds up, so that's something you can take with you. But most people would travel in a car with it. It would be easier than checking it as oversized luggage, but you could.
Hey there, Superhuman. Dr. Matt here, interrupting this incredible show, and I don't feel guilty one bit. Okay, maybe a tad because this is your sacred podcast time. I'm about to make your life 10 times easier and way more delicious with 2 hacks I use all the time. I'm actually using them both right now, actually. One is on my finger, and the other is about to go in my belly. I wear a self-quantification ring that helps me track things that are really important for keeping me running superhuman style. Things like sleep, heart rate variability, respiration for relaxing during stressful events like AT&T keeping me on hold for 20 minutes, and even distance for my triathlete beach runs. It's called the Aura Ring, and the best part about it is I don't have to wear toxic, brain-interrupting Bluetooth on me all day like most self-tracking wearables. Oh no. All the technology is packed into one little ring, and it's able to monitor all these cool stats without full-time Bluetooth. Best part is I wake up, turn Bluetooth on for 5 minutes, and it downloads it to an app on my phone, and I go about my day not having to worry about Bluetooth all over me. One of the great perks about the ring is it's actually cool. It looks good. Making a scene in 2017, if you know what I mean. Hope you laughed at that. You can get the free shipping right now on one of these bad boys by going to Oura, OURA.com, picking out your perfect ring, which comes in pure white, stealth black, or the oh so manly matte black. At checkout, type in coupon code ACCURSO, that's like my last name, ACCURSO, ACCURSO, and receive free shipping for a limited time. Now, do you want to know what's in my other hand? The other hack I'm doing is I'm sipping a Superhuman protein shake that I've upgraded with proteolytic enzymes called Masszymes. If you want the secret to getting every last drop of nutrients into those shredded muscles, then you need to be taking this stuff. It breaks down my protein shake beforehand and allows my body to triple the results I get from a workout. You can get 10% off at biooptimizers.com. That's BIOPTIMIZERS, biooptimizers.com. And you can type in Superhuman10 at checkout. So biooptimizers.com, Superhuman10 at checkout for 10% off of any and all of their amazing products. Hey, thanks for letting me interrupt the episode. Now back to the show. My background with far infrared is I started studying it in school, and it was talking about how fur light waves are capable of altering cells, cell membrane, DNA proteins, cell fluids. And I just find that is so interesting how you can accomplish that with light. And I think oftentimes we make things way more complicated when it comes to health, when in fact, the sun is proof of, healing benefits. And then what you're saying is when you actually take that powerful light and then you can expose it to the body for longer periods of time and not actually get a sunburn from it.
Right.
Now you're getting all these therapeutic benefits in a really, really big dose. And, that was one of the things that spoke volumes to me. I started studying these different institutes around the world. There's the Gersten Institute in Tijuana, Mexico. And then there's also a doctor in Spain that's doing a lot with cancer and infrared light. And it really started to speak volumes to me. And so when we talk about far infrared, near infrared, talk about the differences there and what are the big takeaways from that?
There's 3 different wavelengths within the infrared spectrum. And there's the far, which are the longest waves and the farthest from the sun. There's the mid, which are shorter and produce more heat, convectional heat. And then there's near, which is for therapeutic value, you would have to have it so hot you wouldn't be able to use it. So in order to get the therapeutic benefit of near infrared, you have to convert it to LEDs to receive an invisible light that works with the body. So each wavelength penetrates differently and affects the body gives a different result. With a far, the greatest focus is on the core, like we talked about, giving that fever consistently, changing the cells, eradicating the bad stuff that's in your body and really purifying the body from the inside out. The mid doesn't go as deep, but it's a very, very powerful wavelength for inflammation, specifically on the joints and the tissues. A lot of athletes really use the mid-infrared for muscle recovery and for agility and flexibility, and especially during training or intense, rigorous sports activities, making sure that the body can adjust quickly and get back in shape. And then the near is the shortest wavelength and is really great for cell health. It's great also for inflammation at the surface of the skin, and one of its most powerful components is in cell regeneration for the skin and helping with wound healing and fine lines and wrinkles and restoring the skin as quickly as possible. So we have found a way to separate each wavelength and then fine tune it to its right tipping point where it transforms the body at the optimal level. And we put each wavelength into one place. It's called our 3-in-1 therapy. And you can get all 3 wavelengths in one place, which is just a really incredible experience because you're maximizing that entire spectrum for the body, right? I mean, you're just,
Wow.
you're getting like the pearls, of the oyster of each wavelength into the body, and you're using your time really wisely because those are complicated technologies to master, but that's what we've dedicated the past, 10 years to delivering.
So Sunlighten technology is the only technology that uses the near, mid, and far at the same time?
Yeah, we're the only company that has separated 2 or more wavelengths out. That our patent is on 2 or more. We happen to have 3 in the impulse, but the patent is if we separate 2 or more infrared wavelengths out and deliver it into one place, then that's what's unique and protected. We have 3 in the impulse 3-in-1 therapy. And then also, Dr. Matt, to make it easy, because if I'm listening, I may be thinking, well, how do I know which one to use for what? I mean, that just, it doesn't sound like it, but I'm actually a simple person. So what we've done is we've created a tablet that has 6 programs already designed, already have the program for optimal result for detox, for cardiovascular conditioning, for relaxation, for anti-aging, weight loss, and pain relief.
Okay, so you're saying there's a pad with it that you just press the button and it basically is set for you.
Exactly. And each one, what's really unique and a wonderful experience is, every day is different, right? And so you may have like a day where your body just really aches, or you go for a run, or you do an exercise and you cause inflammation. Well, that's a good time to get inside your Sunlighten 3-in-1 and use the pain relief program, because that's going to really focus on using the near infrared, the mid infrared, and the far infrared, and reducing inflammation at all over the body, at the surface, at the joints, and deep into the body. And that's a completely different experience than the cardiovascular conditioning program or the anti-aging program, where the anti-aging one is much cooler because it's just focusing on building the collagen and making the skin glow and glisten and purifying the body from the inside out.
Wow, very cool. Is there a downside as far as production is concerned of saunas? Like, you have a lot of infrared light saunas coming out of China.
Okay.
Have you guys seen like any downsides to that as far as off-gassing or chemicals being used? Because obviously there are toys coming from China that are highly toxic. Is that the same kind of platform that can happen with saunas as well? Yes,
that's a great question. And just earlier today, I received a letter from somebody saying that they had tested a sauna that came out of China. I don't know if it was on Amazon or Costco. I don't remember where they purchased it from, but I know that it was a sauna that came from China, and they tested the electromagnetic field, the EMF levels, and it was extremely high. So when they're inside, receiving this excess radiation, this excess electrical field, because there's no what's the word, sanction or control, right, over that process. For Sunlighten, what our customers receive is we source everything, and our company controls the process from the very beginning to coming up with the idea and the concept and the design to all the way through to the delivery. So we monitor everything. You'll find, when you open up a box, each part is stamped, each element is tested for safety and to make sure that every minute you spend inside the Sunlighten is as effective as it is safe for the body.
Yeah, let's talk about EMFs, because I think that's a really big deal with my audience. And then, with me, the programs that I run, that's one of the first things that we try to do is mitigate EMFs in someone's home. Dirty electricity, for all of those of you out there, dirty electricity can interrupt sleep. It can affect hormone regulation. It can cause REM sleep to plummet significantly within the sleep realm. So let's talk about the EMF side of things, because I think that, anything that we are plugging into a wall, we have to be concerned, okay, what's the EMF and how are we mitigating it as much as possible? And I've heard, and I would love for you to speak to this, Connie, I've heard that certain companies are not using carbon fiber in order to, mitigate EMF frequency. How do you guys do it? How do you guys mitigate the EMF in your machine?
We do it in many different ways. It's something we started when we first started building our units with just safety shielding before we even knew, really a lot about EMF, but just kind of intuitively, but then over the years, every step of the way, we keep finding ways to counteract as much as possible. Like you said, anything that plugs into the wall, I mean, you're going to have something because it plugs into, plugs into the wall. But the goal is to cancel out as much as possible. And so we've found some canceling mechanisms in all of our units. And then what we did is we sent our heaters away to a testing laboratory so that our consumers could see for themselves exactly how much EMF they would be receiving. And it was really negligible, like 0.05 output.
Like less than your cell phone gives you, basically.
Yeah, much less, yes. In the Solo and Signature line. The 3-in-1 has a little bit more because you're getting 3 wavelengths and you have a little bit more output that is harder to completely cancel out, but it's still very, very, very low. So every step of the way, it's really important to us. I mean, our mission is all about helping people live a healthier lifestyle through, innovation. And so whatever ways we can do that, we're going to take every step to make sure people are safe and healthy.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you. So as far as the mitigation, without giving away trade secrets, I know you guys probably have things that you do that you don't like to reveal, but is it copper? Are you guys using copper within your kind of plethora of other things that you're using to mitigate EMF?
No, it's a canceling technique with ion. Like, so you find a way with the current we're not inserting another piece of material. We're using the materials we have to cancel out the negative electricity.
Gotcha. Is it possible for us to put that research in the show notes?
Oh, sure.
Cool. Just for everybody out there, anything that Connie and I are talking about, we're going to put it in the show notes for you guys so that so everybody can see. We got some analyticals out there. I'm the type of person, like, if you tell me, I'm just like, yeah, awesome. And then I go ahead and do it. But I do, the older I get, the more I like to see the research. And I know we got a lot of research heads out there. So, Connie, this is a really great conversation. I think that, now more than ever, with all the toxins that we're being exposed to, the EMFs, the pesticides and herbicides on our food, the stuff that's in makeups and cosmetics and shampoos and all that thing, I think now more than ever, infrared is needed in our world. And having, I always talk about having our homes be places of healing. And if we can turn our homes into places of healing, then we take the responsibility out of the doctor's hands, which I'm speaking to myself as well. I don't want anybody to be dependent on me. I want people to be empowered. And I know that you do as well. And that's why we're having this conversation. It's about empowerment. And so, exactly. Yeah. So as we come to, a closing here, is there anything that is on your mind, is on your heart that you really want to let people out there know that's important to you?
One of the things that's really important to me is that you don't have to always go all the way up to the 3-in-1 and get everything. Like, sometimes people think in wellness, if I can't get like the end all be all, which would be our 3-in-1 therapy, then I'm just not going to do anything, or then I'm just going to wait. Right. And I would rather have, I'd rather have that conversation with somebody and give them guidance towards, just start, take a step. And the solo, like the one you said you saw at our recent show, that was a portable unit that had the lights on it, or start with the solo pad, just start with one piece of the Sunlighten technology and start receiving this wonderful healing energy into your body to start transforming it and be healthier and feel lighter and have more energy and get more mental clarity and feel more prepared to take on our toxic environment, because you can't control everything that's in the stores. You can't control when you get on a plane. Like you can't control all the people coughing. Like this morning I went to a grocery store and the guy was like coughing all over. I'm like, oh no, don't cough on my lettuce. You can't control that, right?
Right.
So you have to, you can't live in a bubble, but you have to live in the environment. And so it is completely all about being prepared, being empowered to take care of what you can control at home. And you can control the types of therapies and technologies that you use and you own. And even having the Sunlighten Solo Pad or Sunlighten Solo Domes with one wavelength, you're still getting the highest quantity of far infrared on the market available. You can't get more, anyplace else. So at least start there and make an advancement towards a healthier life. And eventually, if you want to get the other two wavelengths and get the 3-1, great. But it's not all about, just like the biggest prize. It's about the enjoying not only, living longer, but gosh, really enjoying your life that you live and making the most of each day and not working so hard to get to someplace, but enjoying the steps along the way. And you can't do that unless you feel good and unless you feel prepared to lead each day.
Hey, World Changer. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Do you desire to gain an unfair competitive advantage in life? Do you want more energy, focus, and clarity to add more life to your years and years to your life? I can almost hear your answer coming through my headphones, a resounding yes. If that's the case, you can go to superhumanentrepreneur.com/hack in order to get your free high performance hack guide. That's www.superhumanentrepreneur.com/hack. My mission is to help activate high performance among 10 million entrepreneurs and their families within the next 10 years. If you're loving the content you're hearing, you can partner with me on this mission by simply leaving a review on iTunes. If you do this now, I'd very much appreciate it. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to giving you even more high performance value next time.